think that there's a certain amount of certain artists that that I think I've always liked and I will always like. Like old Guns N' Roses, like until like '92, Radiohead, At the Drive-In, John Fogerty, bands like that. But then there's I go through phases where I listen to like other artists a lot more. Like I'm listening to a lot of Emily Haynes right now. Listening to a lot of Aphex Twin. So that's what I've been into lately. Advent, I've been listening to their new record quite a bit. But it changes day by day. Like Jimmy Eat World, I really like them. So. I don't know if it's necessarily one thing, like because I think there's certain things that can make one song good that wouldn't work at all in another song that's an equally good song. Like you have a band like Converge, and they'll have a song that's just like so like angry and just like aggressive and loud and just pissed, and like that's what makes that song good. Or Pantera is the same thing. Like there's there'll be a Pantera song and he's just pissed and like middle finger in the air type of thing, and that's why that song's good. But then you'll have somebody like Imogene Heap or Radiohead, and it'll just be the most like chill thing ever, and that's what makes that song good. I think that if you could really narrow down what makes a song good, then you could write it down on paper, and then everyone would be able to make good songs. But I think it varies. I think that for me, a lot of times something like unexpected will make a song good. Something that I wouldn't necessarily have thought to put in the song. Actually, the new Converge record, I've been listening to that a lot, and there's a lot of stuff that they do where I'll listen to it and I'll be like, man, like I would have never thought to do that there, or to put that guitar part in that way. I think that's kind of what makes the world go around, because everyone thinks of things different ways, and every band looks at songs in different ways and constructs songs in different ways. So, yeah. Drowning in my sleep, I'm drowning in my sleep. Like, we make music that we all like, but it's really hard because, like, we've actually had this conversation amongst ourselves and with other bands where we say, if you weren't in your band, would you listen to your band? And it's a really weird thing, like, because to create a song from nothing, like to construct it yourself and to write it and record it and have it be out there, like you view that song in a completely different way than you would view that song if you had never heard it before. So it's hard to tell. Like we have said as a band that if we were not us, we would only listen to our past 2 records. Anything before that we would hate. And I think that you always strive to make something that you would enjoy, because at the end of the day, when you're sitting down to write a song, you say, I want to write a good song. So when you're writing it, you say, that's good, and that's good, and that's good. And, it kind of snowballs into this song, and hopefully it's something that you would like. But, like when we started, we were a lot younger, and, your musical tastes change over time. Like, a record that we put out 10 years ago isn't gonna... we're not necessarily still going to be into that, and we aren't. We look at a couple records we put out, 99 and 2000. Me and Aaron were actually listening to them the other day, and we were just like, man, we were in such a different spot then. And it's like, I think it's the same thing where, if you go back and listen to a CD that you were super into like 10 years ago, you listen to it now, you're like, yeah, it's cool. Or unless it was like actually really good, then you're like, wow, this still holds up. But I think especially when you get from like 15 to 25 or 26 years old, like that's it's only 10 years, but that 10 years you change more, I think, than any other time in my experience anyway. And a lot of times you just look back and you're like, man, what was I thinking? But hopefully the music that we're making today, we'll be able to look back in 10 years and still enjoy it. So yeah. Drowning in my sleep, I'm drowning in my sleep. I think that there's definitely something to be said about honesty in that respect. Like, I think thinking of a love song is a little harder because it's like the cliche thing. But when you asked that, I went back to what I was thinking about when I mentioned Pantera earlier, about like how some of their songs are awesome just because they're so just like pissed. And I'm thinking like if somebody else were to write that, the lyrics anyway, and do the vocals, would it be as good as when he does it? And I'm thinking not really, because he's actually like drawing on life events and it's like really like personal. But then again, if you didn't know that, would you really be able to tell a difference? You know, and I think that there's people that write love songs every day that they do it because they get paid money and they sell them to like pop artists and stuff. Old singer. We put out a CD in 2000, and he had this whole song about this fictional event that happened, about like his wife getting in a car accident. Like him and his wife were in a car accident and they died, or she died. He lived, and then like him trying to like move on from that, and that never happened. He wasn't married. It was just like this fictional thing, and then we got all these letters and people coming up to us at shows just saying how like that song like impacted their life and all these things. And our old singer Dallas was like, that didn't happen. Like, they were like, oh, my wife died, or my mom this, or something like that. And they related to the song in such a profound way, but in our singer's eyes, he was just telling a story. So I think it really depends on the individual in that way. Drowning in my sleep, I'm drowning in my sleep. Who knows? It's a very it's just one of those things I think that we'll never really understand, like, because music is a very, very powerful thing, and I think that's why we do this. Like, we understand that because when we were young, we were exposed to it. We were exposed to the power that music has and what it can make you feel like, and that drove us to like start playing. And who knows what it is? It's awesome though. Like, it's the best thing ever. Yeah, it's weird that like a song can make you like get goosebumps or like have chills when it's just like it's notes being played on an instrument and stuff being sung. Yeah, but it's definitely an individual thing, because there's songs that I listen to that I think are just the most amazing things ever. Like one song in particular, I went and saw this lady named Lisa Gerard. She used to be in a band called Dead Can Dance back in like the 90s, and then she does a lot of like soundtrack work now and stuff. And I went and saw her play in Atlanta, and it was literally just her and then one guitar player, and that was the whole show, and she played for like 2 hours. And there was one point in the set where I like almost had tears. It was so just like powerful. And then I'll let someone else hear that song, and they'll just be like, really? Like, this sucks, and whereas to me, I have this like deep connection to the song and it really moves me. Someone else just like laughs at it and thinks it's funny. So, it's definitely an odd thing and definitely a personal thing, I think.
Well, where do you think Underoath is 5 years from now?
No idea.
Where do you hope Underoath is 5 years?
I hope we're here, like, just,
right here.
Yeah, we're in this room, the architect's dressing room. No, I honestly hope that we're just continuing to do what we're doing now. We're, having a great time, and it's like, it's definitely weird to look ahead to the future because you don't know what's going to happen. Like, yeah, I would love to do this until I'm 60, but it's like, with the way the music scene is and the way bands are, like, that usually doesn't happen unless you're like the Rolling Stones or like U2 or something. So, at some point it's gotta end, but it's like, I hope it's not anytime soon. So. Hey, this is Chris from Underoath, and you can check out my interview on johndoweb.com.